Hello and welcome to my Stamina Dragonknight PvP build for the Lost Devs update. I changed from Deep Slash to Dizzy Swing because Deep Slash doesn't feel that strong anymore. The dots on Stamina Dragonknight don't do enough pressure anymore to make that playstyle really viable. So I changed the build a bit and we're gonna go straight into the character screen. Like before, I'm Imperial. Imperial for me on DK is the best race. You can also choose maybe Nord or Orc if you want more tankiness or damage, depending on you. But in general, I prefer Imperial for the cost reduction, 2k health, 2k stamina, just overall straight some stats you get and great race. I have 24 points in health and 40 into stamina, so I get at least 30k health. That's the goal. And I'm using the Warrior Mundus to increase my weapon damage. The buffwood we are using is also August Smoke Beer Haunch for stamina and magical recovery and the maximum HP. We have some magical skills, and the stamina regen also really important. And obviously stage 3 vampire for the undeath passive, making us tanky the more health we actually lose, so the lower health we are. Potion wise, I'm just using the normal tripods, give us health, magical and stamina. You can also use, if you're rich enough, use Heroism pods. Those give magic stamina and minor heroism, especially on DK. Having minor heroism really handy. You can spam your ults faster, and as you can probably already see, we do run Barlock, so higher ult generation will also mean more damage. Yeah, that's kind of about the consumables. Backbar. Here I have drained stamina poison. You can also go with double dot or the usual escapist ones. Coming to our gear, as you already saw, 2 times Barlog. We are running 5 medium on that setup because I need access to Elude, which is our source of major expedition. So Barlog in general will provide us with a huge damage boost when we use an ult. So usually when we leap, our leap hit will already be with the buffed damage of Barlock. We get the weapon damage and we get the penetration equal to the amount of ultimate used. And it's not spent, or like if you charge it to 300 ult and your leap only costs like 102, you still will get the 300 ultimate points for Barlock to count. Alright, on backbar, we are using a defensive set, which is Mara's Balm. At the moment it's really strong. It's not as broken as it used to be after the nerf, but it's still super strong to use. So we are using Mara's Balm. We have a heavy reinforced chest with the prismatic enchant. We have 2 times jewelry with the weapon damage enchant and infused, and we have a sword and board defending 1H and well-fitted shield. Here well-fitted shield because I only found this pretty cheap. If you want the perfect trade, you probably want to go for sturdy. And on that shield we are using maximum stamina enchant. The other gear sets is stones, but we are only using 4 piece. So we are using the light sash and sturdy. We are using the sturdy boots in medium, well-fitted legs in medium, and sturdy braces in medium, all prismatic enchanted. Stone itself is the set which provides the most damage done on a 4 piece, and since we are using an arena weapon front bar, we can't use another 5 piece if we want to keep our mythic, and we definitely want to keep our mythic. So to push the most damage out of our 4 piece, stones is it. It is. Some people run Witch Knight, which will give 3 times weapon and spell damage, but stones will give 2 times weapon and spell damage and 1 time offensive penetration, and this is more damage than having it 3 times weapon and spell damage. Also, the benefit of this is it's craftable and we can go with a light sash. Yeah, the arena weapon we are using Rage Friends Perfected Battle Axe. This will build up some weapon damage stacks, and when we reach 5 stacks and do a heavy or medium attack, we have that small explosion around us, dealing okayish damage. It's like I got hit from 3 to 5k hits, and that's decent to have like an off-balance burst, since we only have Dizzy as our spammable and there's nothing really to combo our Dizzy with, so we don't have Blast Bounce, we don't have this Deep Fissure, so we need some kind of burst, or more like delayed burst. It's not really delayed, but still it's an off global cooldown burst we can utilize in our Dizzy Weaving. I choose Rage Friends Perfected Battle Axe for the additional 12% crit damage a Battle Axe provides, but also a maul would be completely fine. And the mythic is the Sea Serpent's Coil, infused weapon damage. Sea Serpent will give us 40% damage reduction while we are at full HP. And when we take damage, we gain Major Courage, which is 430 weapon damage, and Major Berserk, increasing our damage done by 10%. So in general, you can reach pretty high weapon damage numbers. I think the maximum amount, if you really lead with 500, it's about 8k and continuous attack. So you really have to push high damage to make Dizzy DK work. And yeah, that's about the gear. Coming now to our skills, starting with our front bar, we have Dizzy Swing, our spammable, as I already said. We have Executioner when our target is low. We have Noxious Breath to apply Major Breach with the 6k armor reduction. And still, the damage of Noxious Breath is okay. Like, the additional damage is fine, and the D dot, it's just a benefit, right? Usually we use it for the Major Breach. Then we have Flames of Oblivion. Really a great skill. It's passive damage. You just do AoE up to 3 targets, and also provides us with major savagery on front bar. That's why we are also having it on front bar, so we gain the crit chance on our front bar and have the fireball shoot around. Forward momentum, our source of major brutality, also minor endurance we get for 15% more stamina recovery, and we get the 4 seconds of snare and immobilization immunity. Then we have Take Flight as our burst ult. In general, having Leap is just a great skill. It still feels satisfying to use. Maybe not the most effective combo with Dizzy Swing, because usually people run it with Whip, but I really dislike Whip on Stamina DK, so I want Dizzy. Also, I don't have a spot for Whip. You could still run Dizzy and Whip together and just use the fully stacked Molten Whip as more like an execute after leaping, but I just prefer the old Dizzy Swing playstyle. Back bar we have our burst heal, which is coagulating blood. Since we don't have cauterize or rally, we have coagulating blood as the burst heal, and it's super strong. If you buff it with fragmented shield, which gives major mending, that shit heals for an insane amount of numbers, because the 10k base tooltip scales I think it's 50% more based on our missing HP. I don't know, it's just insane amount of numbers, especially when you're low. Then we have our armor buff, volatile armor, just 6k armor, and it deals, when you take melee damage, it also deals some damage back, which is now flame damage, so we have a higher chance to proc burning, and when we proc burning we get 1k magicka. Elude, as I already mentioned, we have medium armor, and we need elude because it gives us major expedition. Major expedition will increase our movement speed by 30%. This will counter the snare of Sea Serpent's Coil. Like, not 100%, but if you sprint, you don't have really, you counter out the snare a lot. And also it provides major evasion, reducing all of the AoE damage that is incoming to reducing it by 20%. Resolving Vigor, the really strong healing over time. I saw usually that build, if you buff it with Major Mending, you reach about a 3k non-crit Vigor tick, and that's really a lot of healing. Also get Minor Resolve for 20 seconds, really great. Fragmented Shield here we have for the Helping Hands passive, which is 1k stamina when we use it, but also we get Minor Brutality for 20 seconds when we use it, and we get Major Mending, increasing our healing done by 16% for 8 seconds. 8 seconds is a really long duration, longer than the usual Vigor run, so really great. And the defensive ult is Spell Wall here. That's about the skills. Quick look to the champion points. Green ones, just Gifted Rider, Wow Motivation, and Steel's Blessing. Blues are Ironclad, Fuchs Mending, Exploiter, and Fighting Finesse. I went for Fighting Finesse because I wanted to try crit a bit, but if you want to go for the safe way, you just go with Mastered Arms for the safe 6%, instead the 8%. Red ones, Pain's Refuge, Sustained by Suffering, Survival Instincts, and Relentlessness for the major protection when we get stunned or feared. This can be swapped out for something else. You can use Celerity for more speed, like 10% more speed, to counter the coil snare even more. That's up to you. Also, you want to drop Relentlessness when you swap out Mara's Balm. If you don't like Mara's Balm, you can swap it for Deadly Trickery, for example. Maybe someday Mara's Balm will get nerfed, we don't know, and you maybe in the future you watch a build video and Mara's Balm is completely trash and you still want to try this build, just replace Mara's Balm with Deadly Trickery, and then I would actually replace Relentlessness with something else, because sometimes having two sources of major protection, I don't know, I would just replace. Yeah, that's about the build. Have fun with DK and see you in the next video.